Okay, here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here, across from the Southern District of New York Courthouse. Today, Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. On the Trump docket, yes, there's a new development, and civil division, this time in federal court in Florida. Trump has filed Team Trump has filed a notice of claim under the Federal Tort Claims Act for the raid on Mar-a-Lago. He's citing the Judge Eileen Cannon decision, but also some Florida state claims, including intrusion into seclusion. In any event, that's been filed, and we'll track that one as well. Why not? Here in SDNY, it's this is a civil week. We're going civil this week without the big criminal trials like Menendez and others. Yesterday we covered a pretrial conference in SEC versus Solarwinds. This was the famous Russian-inspired hack called Sunburst that got into a lot of government information. The SEC sued Solarwinds for claims that it made about the efficacy of its software. But Solarwinds had something of a win in front of Judge Engelmeyer. They've managed to radically narrow down the case. In fact, yesterday it arose that maybe even Sunburst won't come in at all. SEC said they haven't conceded that yet, but they do acknowledge that what was to be a 4-week trial will now be 2 weeks, and the number of witnesses cut in half. So when that does come in, these things move slowly. We will cover it. Fubo moved fast. There was 4 days of testimony, and yesterday the closing arguments. It's Fubo trying to stop the joint venture of Fox, Disney, and Warner. We're basically on alert for Judge Garnett's decision. She said that she knows that time is of the essence. They'd said that this joint venture, which Fubo, DirecTV, and some others will be calling a monopoly, is set to launch at the end of the month. So be looking for that. We covered it, and surprisingly, some were surprised that others there wasn't that much coverage of it, but we did, and we covered it. Now, the case of the day yesterday, beyond a very gunplay case in the Mag Court, the case of the day yesterday was an ongoing case about the M/Y Amadea. It's a ship owned by a, quote, Russian oligarch, Kerimov, that was seized by the U.S. in Fiji and is now supposedly in San Diego. Now, there's a guy, his name is Eduard Kudenatov. He wants it. He's a claimant on the ship. And so he has to be deposed to make this claim. But where will he be deposed? He's said he can't come to the United States to be arrested. The U.S. offered him a letter of safe passage that's under seal. He said in another sealed filing why that's still not enough. He's counter-proposed Tunisia and Vietnam, but the yesterday, including at the hearing and afterwards, the U.S. has said that this is going to require... Tunisia never answers, apparently, the U.S.'s MLAs, and Vietnam takes months or years. The U.S., for reasons that it chooses to have sealed, a declaration by Special Agent McGee, says that they don't accept the UAE, either Dubai or Abu Dhabi. Now, why is that? Well, as you may notice, the theme here is sealing. How can the U.S. government seal its reasons? They're certainly not telling tourists not to go to the UAE, so what do they know? More on this to come. We are seeking unsealing, in fact, all the way to the Second Circuit, where only yesterday, Sebastian Greenwood, his counsel, he's in jail, 20-year bid, but before he went to jail, when he was charged with the OneCoin crypto fraud, his sentencing submission was nearly entirely, all exhibits were withheld. So we sought to unseal it. It was upheld, and now we've appealed in the Second Circuit. And there's going to be an argument coming up. We'll report on that in some detail when we get there. We'll also report continuing on the United Nations, which not only is everything sealed, but there's no judicial accountability. There's no recourse. Basically, Antonio Guterres has his own little dictatorship, his own little Pyongyang on the on the East River. And we've, two big law firms, Quinn Emanuel, Duane Morris, they wrote letters to a woman called Melissa Fleming. She's an American citizen running a media accreditation for the UN. No answer at all because she doesn't have to. Unacceptable. We will not steal. But for now, back into the SDNY. Inner City Press. To be continued.